It is my singular honor and pleasure to welcome you all, our distinguished guests, to this all-important investigative hearing that borders on the well-being of Nigerians, particularly on the issue of food security and health implications of GM crops in Nigeria. This investigative hearing comes as a result of the mandate given to the committees on agricultural production and services, privatization and commercialization, science engineering, public asset and special duties to investigate the privatization concessioning of the 22 out of 33 government silos for grain storage and other critical national assets in Nigeria. This mandate came on the 7th of 2024, and these particular committees that I mentioned was mandated to do the investigative hearing and find out the circumstances surrounding the whole things and report back to the House, and that's where we are here today. It is also to conduct a comprehensive investigation into the introduction of the genetically modified crop, GMC, into the Nigeria by the National Biosafety Management Agency to assess the potential health and environmental risks associated with it. Honorable colleagues, the significance of these two investigations cannot be overemphasized, as they play a crucial role in the national food security and the potential health and environmental concern to the Parliament under the leadership of Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, GCON. Ladies and gentlemen, the role of the Parliament in this exercise is to carry out its constitutional mandate of inquiry into the public asset, which the mind of unravel any lacuna associated with the conduct, with the privatization, concessioning of these silos were done, and to determine the desirability or otherwise of the introduction of GMO into Nigeria. The Joint Committee assignment is not to witch hunt anybody or to indict anybody, as the finding will be tabled before the House for appropriate parliamentarian process as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. It will therefore employ all representatives of the ministries, departments, agencies, stakeholders, private sector, and individuals to contribute to the success of this investigative hearing, as the benefit for all Nigerian people, especially as the hearing has to do with the national food security, which we also part of the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. On this note, I once again welcome you all to this November gathering and wish you all a fruitful deliberation, as the committee will ensure that principle and fairness and equity are adhered to in this investigating hearing. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, GCON, instructed me to come and hold brief for him in this very important session. He equally gave me a written speech to convey his address. I am privileged to peruse and go through the speech. I want to crave your indulgence for the want of time. I will only give you the highlights and the synopsis of the speech, so that not to take your time. I'm made to understand that this is an investigative hearing emanating from motions deliberated and approved by the House, referrals were issued with the relevant committees, and that's why we are here. The two referrals, one covering the issue of investigation to do with privatization and concession of 22 out of the 33 silos we are having in the country. The other one is to investigate the issue of MGOs or products or seeds. I'm very certain and convinced with the array of colleagues assembled here, I'm very, very certain that they have the capacity and the capability to thoroughly investigate this matter and do justice to the matter. On the other hand, having related with the minister and the ministry, I'm equally very convinced that as Nigerians, we will do justice to the issues concerned. But I just want to make two key comments. One is on the sensitivity of our national ethics, particularly that has to do with agriculture. In a nation like ours, national ethics, particularly silos, which are cornerstones to our national food security, cannot be taken lightly and cannot be taken for granted. So therefore, on the part of my colleagues, I advise that you do a thorough job, but try to be fair, balanced, and just. On the issue of our invited guests, feel free, this is a people's house. We are representing Nigerians. We are representing the silent majority, and therefore, be a patriotic Nigerian. Give us any piece of information that will help us do justice to the issue. I think by the time when we are able to cross-fertilize ideas, bring out issues to do with the process. I think when we are talking about investigation issue of privatization and concessioning, you are talking about the involvement of ICRC, you are talking about transparency, you are talking about accountability, you are talking about prudence, you are talking about process. So if you be able to bring to the bear on the floor these issues, whether procedurally laws of the land are respected, I think both of us, we are not only on the same page, we will do justice to Nigerian people and to the people we are representing. It is on this note that on the powers conferred on the Speaker of the House of Representatives, transmitted to me to hold brief for him, I hereby declare this session open, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Gratitude, our appreciation for your presence to this joint committee meeting opening session today. I want to thank you for coming. We understand, appreciate the enormous responsibility placed on us by the House, and we want to assure you that we'll carry out the best of investigation has never been witnessed in this House before, and we'll come out with the best report to make sure that proper things are done. Thank you very much for coming, sir. You're welcome.
In Nigeria, to assess one of the important issues, one is to assess the potential health and environmental risk associated with this particular GMO that was introduced in Nigeria. level is the guard to consumers. 2, need to investigate other issue that was before us is need to investigate the privatization concessioning of the federal government silos, which you are all aware we have about 33 silos across the federation. Out of this 33, 22 was given out as a concession. And we have an issue before us regarding to this issue of concession. We have different petitions that led to the movement of the motion. And the motion was mandated to this particular committee, the 3 joint committees, to investigate how the concession was done, how the process was done, whether the due process was followed, whether the right people who are supposed to get this silence was given, or whether they were denied. That's why we are here today to do this investigation. And we have written to different agencies, ministries, particularly you are seeing the Honorable Minister of Agriculture is here. We have a lot of agencies that are related to this particular issue that is before us that we have written. And they have done their submission. The submission is before the honorable committees. And we are engaging the agencies and the organizations that made their submission before us to give us a higher right on what they have submitted before the committees in written. Like you are aware, the meeting was scheduled to start by 12 o'clock earlier today. But we have started the meeting almost after 1. We are almost 1 hour plus late. So we are giving a time for any presenter to make his presentation. You know what you submit. Go brief on what you have submitted. Don't say you will go deep into this. That one is the work of our committees. Already you have done your own submission. And after your presentation, we will now give the floor to the honorable members who have a question or anything to answer or any observation. The presenter will be asked to answer in brief. Then later on, we can decide to ask you to wait. Personally, we will go up and do our job as time permits. Thank you. So,
Mr. Chairman, permit me to probably give the position of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in respect of the GMO. I would like to start by thanking the Honorable Chair and the House of Representatives for giving me this honor to appear before you today. I would like to start by saying the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security acknowledges the food crisis in the country, and that is why His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, has declared a state of emergency shortly upon assumption in office. Interestingly, he has not left anyone in doubt about his commitment to accommodating all genuine ideas and innovations that can better agricultural sector in Nigeria. Currently, Nigeria has 16 national agricultural research institutes with specific mandates for various crops, including institutes for stored produce, extension, and agricultural mechanization. These institutes are tasked with researching and developing seeds that consider negative production factors such as drought, flood, pests, and diseases. The goal is for the seeds of these institutes to be safe and environmentally friendly for humans, plants, animal, and soil health. Biotechnology has also become very essential in addressing these challenges by improving the performance of local crops, animals, and fisheries. To ensure the safety of laboratory findings, the government has established agencies within various ministries. These include the National Biotechnology Research Development Agency under the Federal Ministry of Science, Innovation, and Technology, and the National Biosafety Management Agency under the Federal Ministry of Environment. These agencies are intended to screen laboratory products and ensure their safety. The Nigerian National Agricultural Research System boasts of highly competent researchers dedicated to advancing agricultural development strategies. Today, apart from the agricultural scientists in the various universities, we have over 200 breeders in our agricultural research institutes. These are world-class researchers that have international recognition. In Africa alone, there are over 4 research-based organizations collaborating with our agricultural research institutes to address the problems of farmers through the production of seeds. The subject matter of discussion today has to do with biotechnology that leads to the production of seeds that will meet the yearnings of our farmers. Before seeds development in our laboratories are presented for commercialization, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security insists that they are subjected to rigorous adaptive studies as well as ensuring their safety. These are done in collaboration with the International Agricultural Research Institutes, donor agencies, and local agencies. The ministry is fully aware of the concerns raised by the public on most of the seeds that were developed, and therefore the need to interrogate the process and intensify awareness on these innovations. In reference to happenings around the globe about GMOs, there have been several rejections of the health-impairing crop varieties and food commodities that some landmark judgments in favor of concerned citizens of most nations were the sides raised. A very recent example was the judgment by the South African Supreme Court proclaiming a cancellation of earlier subsisting approval for GMO crops and food commodities in the country. Let me state unequivocally that the government of Nigeria can never, and I repeat, can never do anything that will be injurious to the population. We welcome this investigative effort by the National Assembly, in particular House of Reps, and I'm sure that the experts that are here will give further insight into the history, methodology, results, and evaluations of these innovations, and I'm confident that the position of this honorable people-centric parliament will make a difference in the long run. May the Almighty bless the Federal House of Representatives and bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Speakers that want to address the gap, because they will give a lot of insight to the issue of GMO and what they have done so far.
And that will now bring about some of the questions and concerns that will be raised by this committee, and they will be able to answer those questions. So I would like to... I'm proposing. Well, I have mentioned, so I was proposing that if we can have those agencies, yes.
You want them to be able to go to stay there so that they can...
Oh, they can stay there and...
Okay, you want them to sit, you
yes.
sit down.
Okay, thank you.
So that any questions...
Western developed nations that introduce GMO in the whole world are the first countries to start banning it and creating a lot of fear and question on genetically modified products across the world. As I'm talking to you, there are cases in different courts that have been deliberated after charges to court, and even companies were sanctioned and paid ransom as regards to the use of GMO products because of the effect, negative effect and negative impact on some individuals and some organizations. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, I quite agree with my brother here. The money that some of us that are interested in that, the money that are invested in promoting GMO across Africa is far better than the money appropriated by the United Nations to kick out poverty in African countries. Then the question is why? Before GMO, do we eat? Answer is yes. Before GMO, do we live? Answer is yes. Before GMO, are we comfortable? The answer is yes. Even though, even though we have food insecurity, I believe Nigerians' food insecurity is not relegated, is not subjected only to succumb Nigeria to admit to the use of GMO, where so many questions were not being answered. Globally, then Nigeria will not be an exception. Nigeria cannot be a dumping ground of anything they carry, they don't dump it because of our population and economy. So, Mr. Chairman, I thank Honorable Minister for being very, very kind and just. He is not an expert in that line. He is one of the leaders of Africa, not only this country. I know he will not allow anything that will affect us. Just come with that internationalism. I agree, Mr. Chairman, that the experts, after when we ask them, they answer us, then the chairman has the government decide what next we can do about it.
Thank you. Thank you. How will smallholder farmers be protected from dependency on patented GMO seeds if we continue in this line? And the second question is, what independent bodies are tasked with monitoring the impact of GMO use in Nigeria?
Some of the seeds that we see that are out there that we have been using are also modified. So I've asked this question several times. I have engaged Professor Mustafa there. I have engaged Professor Sharubutu and Dr. Khalid on the issue of GMO. And I think this is a very good forum for them to speak, and we all collectively make up our own idea whether it is acceptable or not. And the issue is, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I refer to you colleagues because I was here before, and I believe that once we can draw that line between varieties that will harm human health or the environment, then I think we can move forward in trying to see what is the best. Because we are challenged right now. We have a seed problem in the country. We may not see it, but we are actually challenged in terms of seed solutions. We are using grains today and planting. Our land is shrinking. Whether we like it or not, land is being taken over by population. Nigeria grew by 5.4 million last year and is expected to grow by 6.8 or 7 million this year. The rate of growth is incredible, and the land is shrinking through climate change, desertification, flooding, insecurity, and population habitation. Even now, Mr. President has graciously established the Ministry of Livestock, where they are going to demarcate grazing lands, and that is going to also affect the farmlands. So we have to devise ways of trying to increase yield per hectare. Our population will be 400 million by 2050. 2030, sorry. No, 2050. Excuse me, pardon me, 2050. 2050 is 25 years from today. I remember very well, June 2nd, when we were sworn in this chamber, 1999. That was 25 years ago. It seemed like yesterday. 2050, 25 years from today, will be tomorrow. What do we do? What are we doing so as to feed the over 400 million people that will exist in Nigeria? And God willing, we hope that all of us will be there at that time to witness this. But we have to start doing something. We have to increase our yield. We have to supply food to Nigeria. We have to find ways in trying to capture the growing population. We'll be the third largest country by 2050, by the end of the century, after China and India. Today, one state in India is more than the population of Nigeria. Uttar Pradesh is 240 million people. Nigeria is 230. So, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I'm just saying that let us look at it objectively. I know the public is very concerned. Everybody is concerned about GMOs. The narrative that is being spread around suggests that it's something. There are varieties that they say they will kill the next farm. You won't be able to grow anything because there's issue of pollination. They will say the one that will affect your life. But so also so many conspiracy theories that we have had, from the ones in COVID, from the ones from trying to reduce polio population and what have you. Those people that took polio vaccine 30 years ago are grandparents today. Where is the narrative that's been driven that polio was supposed to regulate population? They are grandparents today. They are part of the population growth that we have today, Mr. Chairman. So I will suggest briefly now, I will call on these experts. Let them give the narrative. Some I agree, some I don't agree. The same way. And I think collectively we should be able to look at it holistically and decide as a nation what is best for our people. Thank you very much.
What I'm assuring you, important is anything that we are doing, or anything that we will agree on, we should look in for the best interest of our county. And I'm assuring you for that, at the end of this investigating something that is going to be for the best interest of the community will come out of it. Before the end of our report, we will go with the professional, both of the supporters and who are not supporting, to come up with something that is going to be good for the nation, and something that at least at the end of the day, we do the even if the people are not happy now, then the individual they will know that they have done something that is right. Thank you, Mr. Honorable Minister. So
cannot make any presentation now until the Honorable Minister give approval. Thank you very much.
So,
Hello?
Order.
What I'm saying, Honorable Minister of Health is not here.
Please, order. Our guest, please, you have to be
We make this presentation to the committee when the National Council when we finish the National Council of Health. The Honorable Minister of Health is not here now. Thank you.
Okay, which means you rely on the submission you have made to the committee?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Present. I'm Agnes Yemisi Asagra, PhD, T Management Agency. Before I make my presentations, Chairman.
Confirm what you have submitted to us.
Yes, sir. The federal government brought about biotechnology because of food security and to be in the League of Nations. And biotechnology is actually using microorganisms to produce products that are beneficial to National Biosafety Management Agency. Because biosafety in plain terms is just keeping the people and the environment safe. By the Act of Parliament in 2015, the National Biosafety Management Agency was established, and this was there was an amendment in 2019 because biotechnology is not stagnant. There are all manner of emerging biotechnology, and therefore it has to be amended. And also, when we're talking about GM foods, it undergoes rigorous safety evaluations globally. And these assessments include 3,500 independent regulatory agencies worldwide giving biosafety approvals. Also, National Biosafety Management Agency is equipped with the task of making sure that all agencies, all research institutes, all universities that practice modern biotechnology are regulated by the agency. And also, when we talk about biosafety, and National Biosafety Management Agency. It is not an individual work. We have stakeholders. We have, I'll just mention a few of them. We have the National Agricultural Quarantine. We have NAFDAC. We have the Nigerian Customs Service. I'm sure you will wonder why Customs Service. They also help us in tracking GMs that come into the country. And also, when you talk about safety of our GMOs, it is of essence that yes, we do this by science. Data that has been accrued from the analysis of biodiversity are things that we make use of. And also, what is the process? We have an extensive process, and I would crave the indulgence of the chairman to just go through this so that people can know. When somebody wants to get a permit from the agency, we have our forms on the website. You take the form, you fill it, then you send to us. We look at it. If it is okay, we return. If it is not okay, we tell you where you have made mistakes. And after that, you pay a fee through remitter. And then after that, you now bring your risk assessment dossier to the agency. And when this is done, we have a 21-day frame where this is given to the whole country.
You have to be brief.
Yes.
Don't forget your submission.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that for just this process that I needed to say it. After that, there are two committees set up, the National Biosafety Committee and the National Biosafety Technical Subcommittee. And in this, we have agencies, we have the NOA, we have the Consumer Protection, we have NAFDAC. NAFDAC is part of the Technical Subcommittee, which takes charge of the food safety aspect, where you see that, okay, it is not having allergenicity or it is not toxic. All these take place with them. And also, after that is done, the NBC come together, and if the dossier, if the risk assessment is acceptable, then the permit may be given. And I'd like to tell this Honorable House that only 3 crops have been given commercial release in this country. The first one is BT cotton, and that was in 2018. The second one, PBR cowpea, was in 2019, and Taylor maize was given in 2021. And all these go through the varietal. That is why you find out that, okay, this crop was released in 2021, but then for commercial purposes, for farmers, it was not until February 2024, after we had done the commercial release. And also of importance is that our process takes place through an international protocol called Cartagena Protocol, where about over 189 countries of this world are parties. And also we make use of Codex, we all know Codex Alimentarius, FAO, WHO, and all that. And also, we know one thing, that if you say it was safe yesterday, it doesn't make it safe today, and it does not make it safe tomorrow. And therefore, in National Biosafety Management Agency, we organize and we work with integrity, with transparency, and we have competent, trained and retrained scientists who are able to do their work adequately well. And one thing that is another heartwarming thing is that our scientists, our researchers are carrying out research, so we don't have to depend on external people. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Gigi, for the...
I'd like to indulge, to crave your indulgence for allowing me to stand on the existing protocol. The National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency hereby presents her compliment to the House Committee on Agricultural Productivity and Services. We also have the honor to acknowledge the receipt of this invitation that was sent to us on the 7th November 2024. In response to the request of a memoranda on the motion to investigate the introduction of genetically modified organisms in Nigeria, National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency would like to make the following submission. Firstly, NAFDA, though created in 2001 by the approval of National Biotechnology Policy by the Federal Government, Federal Executive Council, under the aegis of Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, become legally established by the Act of the National Assembly 2022 to carry out research and development and create and develop public awareness in biotechnology in order to encourage a private sector participation in biotechnology industry in Nigeria and for related matters. While we acknowledge the concerns surrounding the safety and regulatory oversight of GMOs, it is important to note that scientific evidence strongly supports the safety and benefits of genetically modified organisms in the country. Contrary to the claims, GMO have undergone comprehensive testing and have been proven to be safe for human consumption in the developed countries for over 3 decades now. Furthermore, they have the potential to increase crop yields, enhance nutritional content, and reduce the reliance of harmful pesticides used in agriculture. Leading scientific organizations such as National Academy of Science, World Health Organization, Food and Agricultural Organization, the European Food Safety Agency, peer-reviewed scientific journals, regulatory agencies responsible for GMO oversight, and the American Medical Association have all confirmed the safety of GMOs. Additionally, in Nigeria, GMOs are certified by National Biosafety Management Agency. The sister just finished speaking about the safety procedure. Competent authority on GMOs. The introduction of GMOs in Nigeria has the capacity to bolster food security, improve agricultural productivity, reduce malnutrition and hidden hunger, create jobs, generate wealth, mitigate greenhouse gas and climate change negative effects, and contribute to sustainable environment, industrial and economic growth. Therefore, I urge you to carefully consider the scientific evidence and expert opinion before reaching a decision that could hinder the progress of agricultural innovation in the country. The scientific research on genetically modified organism crops conducted by Nigerian scientists has garnered attention from the global bioscience community. As a result, scientists from various countries have been visiting Nigeria to study and learn from the work being done by Nigerian researchers. These represent the positive development and demonstrate the valuable contributions of Nigerian scientists to the field of bioscience. I'm concluding, sir.
What the submission that already you have made to...
Yes, we respectively...
Go to the conclusion you
yes, that is what I'm reading now. We respectively request for reconsideration of the motion to suspend the introduction of new genetically modified crops. Instead, We suggest implementing a science-based approach to oversee their use. With proper regulation and oversight, GMO can greatly contribute to Nigerian agricultural advancement. The agency has submitted all relevant documents and other pertinent material that will guide the committee in making informed decisions on these matters. Thank you very much.
You need to put up facts from science to be able to adjudge either those concerns are okay or not. If there is any new innovation in the world, definitely there will be world concerns. When planes came on board, I'm not sure it was not everybody who was willing to fly. So also we think, today we are talking of GMO. In another time, sometimes if there is a challenge in the society, you always come out with, work out how do we solve these kind of challenges. Today, GMO, maybe in another 5 years or 10 years, we'll be talking of another technology. And therefore, there must be fears and concerns. So those concerns, our paper, our submission had highlighted it. But then we, as scientists, we think that we must get some facts to actually justify whether these things are correct or not. And you don't sit down alone. You also compare the peer review things we've talked about. What somebody is doing, you have to look. And I'm happy that Nigerian scientists are participating actively. The 16 research institutes we have here are working seriously on to know. If they are doing and you are not learning and also participating, you might end up importing from them and you don't even know what they are giving you. So I think we give, okay, so the concerns are noted, and I think the comparing with the scientific evidence, we do not see enough reasons to stop work on such instances. If you recall before, when our population was very small, our grandfathers do selection. They are the breeders then. They select the best ones. But you cannot rely on that now, going by our population and the challenges we have. So therefore, we should expect science to be bringing up innovations. And GMO is not an exception. The worries about the safety, let us look at the scientific angles and justify whether. So why we plead with the House to support my minister to equip even these research institutes better, so that this one will be for what everybody will see. Yes, yes, they should budget enough for agri, so that okay, so that you can be able to see. We will be able to be very open. It's not that science are in the cocoon that nobody knows what they are doing.
Your time is off. Your time is off.
Okay.
So
I thought 1 minute.
The next presenter is...
We have approved and released in this country are Nigerian-made, Nigerian-investigated in our own laboratory. The laboratory in the Institute for Agricultural Research actually undertook the investigation and the cross-breeding of one genetic material into the other in order to protect us from Maruca. The second one is the telomerase. It was again done here. There is no laboratory in its own single fashion that can incubate research and conclude on its own. We look for genetic material from one laboratory to the other, either within the country or outside the country. Secondly, sir, the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has an inbuilt safety measure within it. And what are the safety measures? By the time you are bringing in any foreign material from outside, if you go to the airport, you will see our soldiers or our para-security men dressed in green. These are the National Agricultural Quarantine Service people. And they do not go beyond what the Honorable Minister has prescribed. By implication, there are lists of items that are approved from the decision of the National Council on Agriculture and then being implemented by the Honorable Minister to say, we will not want this crop come into this country, whether by its species, variety, or anything. They have the laboratory capacity to checkmate those things that are coming that are not approved. Secondly, there is the National Seed Council. The DG has just spoken. Their responsibility is to make sure that whatever seed is not approved in this country does not get to the farmers. Of course, we recognize the fact that there could be smuggling, and that is why the minister is saying there must be some regulatory component of it. Now, the Seed Council is made in such a way that their policy will respect the policy of the ministry. And what is the policy of the ministry? The smallholder farmers. The smallholder farmers are being taken along. Now, the implication of having the Seed Council, I told us, is in response to Honorable Shagaya to say, are there safety measures that are being put in place, independent bodies? Yes, we do not work without the collaboration of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria. And I'm definitely sure that the chairman of the president of the All Farmers of Nigeria is here. He will testify to the viability, capacity, competence, and of course, to some extent, the productivity of what we have generated from our laboratory. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Transformation. That should be the question here. Let's take the case of the PBR copy. Over 1,000 accessions of copy were scrutinized for resistance to Moruca. No single accession turned out to be resistant. We had no choice. The only viable option was to use biotechnology to enhance resistance to Moruca. Moruca can lead to 100% yield loss in the field. And we all know today, without pesticides, you cannot cultivate cowpea. And we all know the health hazards associated with using herbicides and insecticides in the field. That has been attested. You can ask farmers. That even affects that even impacts on their lifespan. Because at the end of the day, you see them having health issues, cancer, lung issues. These have been medically documented. As scientists, we don't speak on hearsay, we speak on facts. In our submission, we have given statistics, we have even provided references. And I ask everyone present here should check, we should all Google and see the information available. I'm a lady, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter.
Thank you, yes.
I will not work on something that will harm my family.
Thank you, yes. Thank you, yes. Thank you.
I'm not done. Sir, please. My 5 minutes is not up. Please, sir.
No, your 5 minutes is over.
Please, sir.
Thank
Please,
you.
sir. Please, sir.
All you want to say, you have already made submission.
No.
I hear. I said all you wanted to say now, you have already made a submission.
I just want to mention one thing that for the last time, please, sir.
Okay, mention it.
Biotechnology is not new. Biotechnology is as old as man. We have been eating biotechnology products. We all eat bread. We all eat bread. We take yogurt. Then we don't show concern. And some of us here are diabetic. I'm also one. I take insulin. Have we ever asked how insulin is produced? The same science that is used to produce insulin was the same science I used to produce telomerase, PBR copy, and then BT coating. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
DG Raw Material Research and Development Council. As you know, Raw Material Research and Development Council is at the vanguard of promoting the optimal utilization of Nigerian raw materials, including the agricultural raw materials. What I want to state here, my chairman, sir, is that we should distinguish between unsubstantiated fears from scientific-based results and findings. Emotionality is not science. Science is real and is predicated upon facts and evidences. Sometimes when we have fears that has no scientific proof, we begin to contest certain things.
What's your point of order?
Mr. Chairman, he just told us he was representing the DG.
you did not introduce yourself and tell us the title you hold.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Organization.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have a letter from the DG to represent you?
Yes.
Do you? You can submit it before this committee. And please introduce yourself and tell us the title. Honorable, you know, because of the time that we area on agree that we should avoid most of the protocol introduction and other things.
In conclusion, what I'm saying is that I have had the privilege of representing the council at various committee levels by the Nigerian Biosafety Management Agency before any approval is given by the agency for any introduction or use or cultivation or field trial of GMO. Committees are set up where scientists from all over Nigeria are called to scrutinize that application to make sure that the introduction or acceptance of that GMO is in line with basic and standard scientific protocols and standards. So that is what the Raw Material Research and Development Council comes. We have opportunity of being part of that national body that scrutinizes the applications for introduction of GMOs in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
This year is the NGOs. NGOs and individuals who are willing to make their submission. Can we still allow them to make their own submission before we allow for a general question for both?
Very clear. Nigeria is not yet ripe for genetically modified organisms. And the reasons are very clear. I'm a scientist. I'm a researcher. I'm heading a Center for Food Safety and Agricultural Research in a university here in Nigeria, and I've studied across the globe. Genetically modified organisms that we are referring to here in Nigeria are transgenic. That means genes are exported from other organisms across species barriers into organisms that they were not supposed to be there or naturally. For example, genes that confer the ability of a snake to have venom can be extracted and inserted in a crop or in any other organism that will confer that ability in that organism. So genetically modified organisms in this context, as we are discussing today, are being banned by other countries that are even more advanced in research than us. For example, according to World University Ranking, the 7 best universities in Africa, 6 of them are in South Africa. The 7th one is in Cairo in Egypt. And just a few days ago, South Africa Supreme Court of Appeal reversed their approval on GMO maize. And the research facilities in South Africa and in Cairo are better than the research facilities we have in Nigeria, in our universities. Now, the question is this. On the plane of health, GMOs have recorded scientific proof to be adversely affecting the health of consumers. In the United States of America, where GMOs are being used, their health is not correct. And you can listen to the news. You can listen to the news. They are complaining. The International Agency on Cancer Research, a World Health Organization agency, a United Nations agency, has labeled some of the GMOs as probably carcinogenic. That means they cause cancer. On the issue of economics.
Thank you, Prof. Already, you are given 5 minutes.
Yes.
5 minutes is over.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I have delivered it.
All protocol observed. Firstly,
my brother, 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. Firstly, I attended the 7th annual conference of the NBMA 2 weeks ago, and they stated in the conference that their laboratories were going to be ISO certified. And I stand to say here that we don't have more than 3 ISO certified laboratories here in Nigeria, and I'm wondering which of the laboratories were certified enough to carry out GMO experiments in Nigeria. Number 2, risk assessments. We have asked many of them several times for risk assessments, and they never provided it to us. And that's because the risk assessment that was used in Nigeria from information from MDMA is from the EFSA risk assessment, which is just for 2 years. And 2 years is not enough to evaluate the impact of GMOs on our health, on our environment, and also generally. Because there's sufficient proof that there's a 16-year research in Canada that shows that the use of pesticide increased by 244% when they kept using GMO crops. And I'm happy that she stated that pesticides cause cancer, because they really do cause cancer. There's sufficient research. There is a republished research by Professor Seralini that proves that GMOs cause tumors and cancers. And you see, I also, stating from the conference I attended, all the promoters, MDMA is supposed to be a biosafety organization, but all the speakers that spoke at the event were all promoters of GMO. So much so that OFAB was sharing conference materials at such an event. That is similar to a football, the referee scoring goals. The referee is now the one officially taking free kick in the match, because MBMA is supposed to be a neutral organization. There were only 2 of us.
We are here to work for the best interest of our country, and we should be serious on what we are doing. So, the next presenter is Professor Cyril Otoge.
I have listened very carefully to all the presenters, and I want to congratulate the gentleman that moved that motion. I'm a professor of genetics, and I want to believe that if you assess the whole of this hall, we are very few, even across the world and in this nation, we are not up to 20 professors of genetics. So I'm going to talk as a geneticist. Number one, classifying an organism as a genetically modified is fraud, because what they did was not genetic modification. If you want to do genetic modification, there is a sample. I've seen a sample with somebody there carrying a bag. Telomerase, they have written there hybrid. Hybrid has father, has mother. So you bring the father and the mother to give birth to the child. But genetically modified organisms, we are told, is produced by certain persons who have that belief that they want to achieve a certain purpose. And they brought bacteria, and include bacteria inside fruit. Number one, if you see all the pictures on your Google, you see fruits of apple, you see all the genetically modified food, you see fruit. Fruit is not an organism. We are scientists. Fruit is a part of the organism that is the plant. So if you want to modify, you modify from the plant. You marry them together. You carry reproductive characteristics or parameters and merge them to arrive at a desired substance that you call a hybrid. What they have and what the world has presented to us as genetically modified food is cooked bomb that will blow when you take it, because there is an entity that is incubated inside that when you take it, and let me tell you, Mr. Chairman, sir, that every factor that will arrive at genetically modified food is not bacteria. That is a scam. It comes from heavy metal. And let them eat it. For those of them who are talking about it, let them eat it and see what it will do to them. And the result will be open. Genetically modified foods are baked population control factors. I know they will say, what do they classify us as? They give us names. Conspiracy theorists. I was one of the #1 conspiracy theorists in COVID-19. And I mentioned it that when COVID rests, another one will come. The next one is GMO. GMO has come. Do you know why it's going to succeed? Because it's food. And it's going to affect everybody. I am a professor of genetics trained in Nigeria and in Israel. I trained in Israel University. And I'm an Edo man. We don't run from truth. Genetically modified food are cooked bomb that will explode. Thank you very much, sir.
Embassy, is this on?
Miriam, you have to, you should know that you are promoting others.
Thank you so much. My name is Barrister Mary Ambassi. I stand on all existing protocols. Food can be a weapon, and is a weapon. He who controls your food can control your society. He who controls your seed can control the life and will control the earth. I've heard our NAMA boss says that she was careful to mention the partners that helped them do the work, but she did not mention OFAP, she did not mention NABDA. Honorable members, I've read the act. NABDA, National Biotech Agency, that they are supposed to regulate, is a member of the board, a board member in NAMA, and they've also made applications. How can a board member that you are supposed to regulate be in your board? And in my opinion, and what we've seen, the regulated is more influential on the regulator. It's more influential. If you look at the act, I've studied that act, they made themselves board members. They are there. And I ask myself, if you are hiding what you are doing, you shouldn't be hiding it. My grandmother says, if you are hiding what you are doing, you should not be hiding it. Look at this. This is Roundup. I bought it in the markets. If I drop this thing, just a drop in the food, everybody, in fact, some drops, everybody is dead. This is a cocktail of what Monsanto had given as a gift to Nigeria when NAMA approved the maize that they gave us. In 2016, when the application was made in Nigeria, our organization, we told them that this is the same BT cotton that was made in Burkina Faso and Mali that was brought to Nigeria. I belong to an organization, we are in 76 countries. They removed just Burkina Faso and just put in Nigeria. The government of Burkina is not up to Lagos State. Lagos is bigger than Burkina Faso. They rejected, they said Monsanto lied to them. Lied that this, what they promised heaven, they saw hell. It did not, so they banned it. In Russia, if you bring in GMOs, you are considered as a terrorist. This is Roundup that Monsanto sells with its cocktail of food. If you put this thing, if I drop it, everybody is dead. I bought it in the market. I'm not joking. I bought it in the market. Randomly, I bought it in the market. I bought it as testimony. I bought this thing in the market. Then secondly, Mexico. Mexico is the city of corn. I'm sure honorable members, some of you have been to Mexico. If you go to Mexico, please, I have the floor. If you go to Mexico, you will see blue, yellow, green, black corn, diversity of corn. They call them the city of corn. Recently, the countries, I'm quoting names because I'm a lawyer and I find that everything I say is true. You can find out. Canada, US want to bring in their GMO, and their president said on 1st October 2024 that they will never accept GMO corn. That the way they eat in US is not the same way we eat in Mexico. Don't bring in your corn to our country. And they've been fighting it. Is it possible that you... So one moment, I will soon round up, please, sir. No, please, honorable. No, I'm not. Okay. Thank the BT cotton, the promise was going to give you. The farmers have started complaining. Catalonia Protocol, as she said, was negotiated because it was said that this thing is not a question of if, it is when. There are bound to be impacts on human health, the environment, and the biodiversity. That is why people came together. Our founding fathers that negotiated the protocol, Dr. Tewade, Nimobasi, Tunbakawa, they put in things they said will protect us. But our NAMA, sorry, they are just acting as content creator and PR agents for NAMA. Yes, but let me say one more thing. I'm just saying one more thing, sir. No, I'm not dropping. No. One more thing. I just want to say that NAMA has conceived and construed are not giving us good stewardship. They are just PRO agents for OFAP and NAMA, and in fact, they can just move them to NAMA. They are not helping us because you cannot have an agency who is supposed to be a regulator acting as if it was a PRO agent and parrot for the biotech company. Thank you. So, what's this?
I want to claim your indulgence to stand on existing protocol. My name is Tatfe Mirabeau. I'm a professor of medical microbiology and immunology, presently working with the Niger Delta University, Bayelsa State. I want to start by making a categorical statement that GMO are not safe for this country. And it's because of the identified challenges that we've seen with GMO that the Cartagena Protocol and the Nagoya Protocol were enacted, which Nigeria has assented to in 2003 and 2012 respectively. I listened to the previous speakers who are trying to convince us that we should import GMO in this country, but none of them has given us a tangible reason why GMO should be brought into this country. I listened to the honorable members who spoke ab initio, and they asked very valid questions. Were we eating before GMO? The answer is yes. So what has changed? And another colleague asked, what is the right of the small-scale farmers? And I want to state here that the small farmers are not protected. They will be extincted because with GMO, the technology in it does not allow reproducibility of this seed, or it will reduce yield. So they'll be forced to go back to buy the seed from the donors, which is not healthy for our farmers. I stand to be corrected. I've interacted. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, the professor here has the floor, and he has the chairman protection.
Thank you, Chairman. Please, I think your mic. Yes.
The committee here. So please, I advise everybody should have respect and listen. Time will be given to everybody if you have anything that you want to talk.
For protecting me. The other issue I want to address here is the regulatory rules that NAMA play. From our observation, NAMA is just a sandbox to to promoters, because most of the conferences, as my colleague earlier stated, most of the conferences organized by NAMA are...
No, you have only 2 minutes.
I'm coming, sir. I'm coming.
Only 2 minutes.
Okay.
So just
that's it.
To the point of what you want to tell the committee.
Okay, what I want to state here is that with my medical background, there is no doubt that the emergence and re-emergence of infectious disease and communicable disease is actually on the rise in Nigeria. And there is a direct link between the emergence and re-emergence of this disease with what we eat. So I think at this moment that we are considering a product that's been identified unsafe in other areas, we should treat with care. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman. All protocol duly observed. My name is Professor Peter Ayodeji Kunwe from the University of Port Harcourt, a proud Edoma. Now, I want to say that we've talked about the benefits of GMO, but at what cost? Those are the things we need to consider. And I think it's very important for us to know the cost in terms of the health cost. They might tell us that there's no health problem with GMO, but that's not true. Because in the long run, from all statistics and from all results we've seen so far, there is healthcare. A brother mentioned about a publication by Serena in 2012, that shows that GMO has the potential of causing tumor in rats. Now, of course, they discharge this publication. So I want...
Come again. You said GMO has what?
The potential to cause tumor. Okay. GMO has the potential to cause tumor in rats. It was a research conducted in 2024 in France. Now, a lot of people disregard that research by these scholars because they felt that the methodology wasn't right. But other researches are going on. So there's a long-run effect of GMO, and those are our concern. These are the costs, especially with the farmers as well, not being able to regeminate their plants again, and constantly depending on these corporations to supply seeds for them. So these are the issues we are looking at. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
I hate falsehood. I hate falsehood. We were told in these hallowed chambers that only 3 crops has been approved. That is not correct. In 2016, GM maize variety event NK603 was approved. In 2017, BT cotton was approved. In 2019, transgenic cassava, I wrote an objection for that, was approved. In 2021, Taylor maize came first to Nigeria. What we're discussing now is the resurfacing of Taylor maize. Now, you talk about BT beans. I want to dwell on BT beans. I want to tell Nigerians, if you want to plant BT beans, which has been painted very good here, please take a soil sample where you want to plant. Determine the microbiota and the right soaps on that soil. Plant your BT coin. Return after your BT maize had matured. Take the same sample. You will see the wide differential in soil microbiota. You will see depletion of rhizomes. Who said GMOs are safe? When the active gene in BT modification, cry protein 1B, are now being recovered from fetal and maternal blood, who said it's safe? The point need to be made and succinctly clear that anybody who is telling you that GMOs are risk-free, there is no risk-free situation. The point is this. Please, I challenge this house. Can you pay a visit to NIPMA lab? You will find wrong. Please, let us rise from here. We do not have the capacities. We do not have the competencies to do GM in Nigeria. They told you all of them were made in this country. Hell, sorry, it's not true. Professor Shaku, who pioneered the work on BT maize, on BT, told us in Sheraton Hotel and Towers that they were all completely knocked down gene brought to him from Switzerland, and he coupled here. Assemblage of a car do not mean you manufacture a car. The point need to be made that we are losing our biodiversity to GM incursion. It's been dumped on Nigeria unbridled. Why would anybody say it's three crop? You've forgotten the approval for the wheat GM that was released on us. Why are we experimenting with Nigerians' life? This is pathetic. It must be halted. Life is involved.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Protocols duly observed. I think I want to talk briefly on the economics of production when you consider GMO. We've talked of the impact on smallholder farmers. Consider what happened in India sometime between 2011 and 2013, when smallholder farmers were committing suicide because of the impact of GMO. What happened? They were buying seeds, and the implication was that these seeds, immediately after planting, they cannot reuse again. And they were spending. That gave them a big, high level of indebtedness. And farmers started committing suicide. It was tagged the seed of suicide rather than seed of life. To me, there is no point talking about GMO modified foods. Thank you.
Chairman, so our views represent the views of millions of Nigerians, and so far all the people who have spoken are mostly elders, so permit me to represent the young people in our country. And I want to re-emphasize on the impact on biodiversity. Biodiversity is life, is the foundation of our food, it's the foundation of our life. And GMOs have serious implications on biodiversity. Over 80% of GMOs so far are said to be designed as herbicide-tolerant GMOs. That's the link to the poison you saw by Samarian Holt. Many of them, those 80%, are designed to withstand the application of that pesticide. That pesticide does not only destroy the target weed, it also destroys very beneficial microorganisms in the soil. The populations of bees in the US and other places have been seen to reduce over time since the application of these herbicides on the farm. And we need to also note that these herbicides are produced by the same companies, the very companies manufacturing these GMCs. Now, also to let us know that it is way more than 3 crops that are approved. Even if we're talking about commercial release, there are actually 4 varieties, 2 varieties of cowpea, 1 of cotton and 1 of maize. And the fact that there is no report of risk assessment on the website of the NBMA, there's no proof that the NBMA has done any independent long-term risk assessment. She mentioned how applicants should submit risk assessment that they have done. We shouldn't depend on the risk assessment that the person who wants to introduce these crops has carried out. There are also products that are brought in for use for food, feed, and processing. So it's not just about the ones we are planting. There are three crops, soy, wheat, and I think maize, that are brought in for food, feed, and processing. Those also enter our food chain. This document contains over 50 different products, processed foods, that are imported into the Nigerian market, in our supermarkets. Everyday food, cereals, vegetable oils, noodles, cake mixes, syrups, different kinds of things that are actually labeled to contain genetically modified ingredients. How many of us in this room know that there are crops like that, there are foods like that in our supermarkets? So the rights of our people.
I have only 1 minute now to round up. 1 minute to round up.
It's not coming on. Right, so we want to really emphasize the fact that there are alternatives. Because we're saying, oh, we want, Nigeria's population is increasing, there's climate change implication, there is food insecurity. To solve this, the farmers, the people have the solutions. Solutions are with the people. There's organic agriculture that is helping to actually address why we have these problems in the first place. That is what our government should focus on, how to revitalize our soils and ensure that our people are in control of how food is produced. That is what we call food sovereignty. With GMOs, we are giving off our food sovereignty.
I have a feeling that some of us are thinking we are in a novelty match between the pro and against GMOs. We are on a serious matter here. In fact, I lost my father some few days ago. That is why I'm appearing like this. And as the only son, I have a lot on my head. But I came here because this issue is important and dear to me. And I would like to, before I proceed, there is somebody that spoke about how they made the GMOs here. And I would like to ask the person 2 questions. Who is the holder? Are those seeds patented? That is the first question. And if yes, who is the holder of those patents? Because I want to talk about how there is a hidden cost, economic cost to these GMOs. Because somebody spoke about the person who controls your food, controls your life. And if, as a matter of fact, we remove the issue of the health issue, the economic issue is too big to ignore. And I want us to understand clearly that monopolies are always a danger to an economy. And GMOs now, there are very few companies or institutions that have the capacity to make GMOs. And then now, if we are going to go the way of GMOs, how are we going to avoid the issue of monopolies? Because as we speak, the people who are invested in this technology want to reap, some form of payback from it. So it's not free. It's not for the Christmas.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm asking, as a matter of fact, I want to ask this Honorable House to make a law to ban GMOs for the next 25 years until we have the capacity to do anything about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, of the negotiation with Cartagena Protocol, the basis of which all of this discussion is going on. This was more than 30 years ago. Secondly, I was the executive secretary of the OAU for many, many years, and therefore I know the origin of all of this that was being discussed. Third, I was prevailed upon because of those past experiences when I retired that I should please come and be the pioneer chairman of the National Biosafety Committee, which gave birth to the agency that we're talking about now. I want to tell you that what I had, or what we had, in the original document that was presented to the Ministry of Environment is not all included in what they are implementing today from the Biosafety Agency. It has been mutilated, it has been negotiated, and it has been compromised. Why? That what we did was too complex, and therefore it cannot be implemented in the interest of the international community against Nigeria. At the time that I was chairing that committee, my interest was Nigeria and not the international community. So I have not given, please. So just listen, sir.
Thank you for this wonderful submission.
Can you just give me one more minute?
Bro, you know,
Let me tell you. This is
just on the first technical section. The time is not already. You are paid.
Here.
Okay, I'm giving you additional 2 minutes, bro.
No.
Okay, good.
Biotechnology that leads to genetic engineering. And I have invested in agriculture and in science. And I know that we are in this war with this fund because of science. If there was no science, we would not be sitting here and be seeing each other. This place is too big to be roofed by conventional means. Nigeria's population, somebody said, will be 400 million in 24 years. We will need to feed everybody. Today, at 230 million, we are grappling to feed ourselves. There is an innovation that would make it a lot easier for people. Some people from the background of science and professorship have said one thing, but I am asking, what is their stake? Are they pro-people or are they against people? If you eat and die, it's better than not to eat and die. So I Mr. Chairman, I am happy that everybody reacted to what I said. The point I'm trying to make here is, you at the high table, those of us here on the lower ground, and the population outside this wall must eat food. And Nigeria must be able to feed itself for there to be governance and livability. It is good that some people ask questions and they want clarification. But I was privileged to listen to so many people, to read a lot of things, and to make some investments. I have not seen anywhere where they established a nexus between GMO and any disease. You must be able.
Thank you, my brother. Your time is over.
Thank you.
Institute of Food Science and Technology. I can understand why this is of interest to us. I just want to quickly say that science does not run away from challenges. Man would not be flying in the air today if we were bogged down by the challenges of an aeroplane in the air. So, on that premise, I want to say that yes, there are challenges with GMOs, but science will not run away from these challenges. Problems are meant to be solved. What we need to do is to have stronger collaboration on research. 2, to make haste slowly. Let us not quickly adopt what was being sent to us. Let us also develop, be convinced that the problems associated with these GMOs are solved in the Nigerian environment. There are many research institutes working on these things, and we should allow them to do their research. There should not be any hurry in adopting any GMO or for any crop. 2, we should also send a regulatory framework. Whatever comes in, there are many agencies doing things independently. Let them come together. There should be a union so they can communicate with each other and then be able to employ the force necessary to be able to do things that will benefit Nigeria, but should not be put off by the problems that we are hearing. And then we should be transparent in what we do so that the farmers and the general public can be carried along in what the researchers are doing. And then, of course, we have to safeguard the interest of the farmers. All right? We must give them seeds. There must be sustainability in agricultural production in Nigeria.
Thank you.
we should set targets that we want to achieve by all those interest groups that are working, researchers that are working on these subjects. But we should not be put off or be discouraged by what we are hearing about it. We would do research and let research tell us what to do without any inhibition. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
I speak on behalf of the seed industry in Nigeria. Simply put, we want development for the farmers. Farmers in Nigeria are having problems. Productivity is low, poverty is high, and we need to have a solution for farmers to develop their capacity in production. You agree with me, in the rural areas, there's a problem. We have to provide seeds, high quality seeds, to produce enough food for Nigeria. The minister said it. In the next decade, 400 million people, you have no plan. Science is real. Our universities are doing something good, and I think we should support them. This debate can continue, but the bottom line is think about the Nigerian farmers. Think about my position is very clear. What is happening now is beneficial to us, to the seed industry, and it is something good in Nigeria. Thank you.
I'm Mrs. Veronica Nkechi Eze, the Registrar CEO of the Nigerian Council of Food Science and Technology. The council is a new one established to regulate the practice and profession of the food science and technology professionals in Nigeria, meaning that we regulate the human beings that have work on food scientific matters in Nigeria, including the genetically modified organisms. Our position is slightly a little bit different because we lend our support to the presentations made by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, that of the Biosafety Management Agency and the Biotechnology Research and Development Agency, including the very last one, Nigerian Institute of Food Science and Technology, and all the others that have looked at this GMO from the objective point of view. Our position is that the safety issue of the approved GMOs, especially the ones in Nigeria, need to be followed by every stakeholder who must take advantage of the food experts, especially in the area of testing and assessment of the GMO in the primary food production, processing, and the use of non-genetically modified materials, so that to avoid harm to Nigerians. So the food professionals must be involved in the testing and assessment of genetically modified organisms in Nigeria, and that the safety test must take adequate cognizance of short, medium, and long-term plausible effects. So food professionals should be involved in all the regulatory, we have just one,
do you have anything outside that you want to tell us?
Yeah, just want to conclude.
Okay, you want me to conclude?
Okay, so we want the food professionals to be involved in all regulatory and research agencies, just like I mentioned earlier, so that they can evaluate both food and even the non-food genetically modified organisms for safety and be sure that there's no indirect connection to food. Thank you.
I'll use more than 2 minutes, please. Thank you. Yeah, just to start, I don't know, this is coming on and off. Okay, just to start by saying that genetic modification is a natural phenomenon. I think the minister alluded to that in his statement. And it is a natural process. There is natural selection which is a normal thing in life. So genetic modification is not something that is new. I think that's one basic point that I need to make. And all that we are doing in modern biotechnology is trying to do what happens in nature. And I think that should allay any fears. Then secondly, I am a professor of plant breeding and genetics, and I have been the president of the Genetic Society of Nigeria for 6 years. And we must listen to experts. This house must be guided by experts, because misinformation from non-experts can be harmful to us as a nation. I stand here to say boldly that I was hearing someone introducing himself as a professor of genetics that I have never met in any conference, anywhere. As a professor of genetics who has been... Now, in addition to that, sir, lastly... Yes, Mr. Chairman. Sorry,
you should know that you are just talking to us something relating to what was before us here, not to insult or insult.
Sorry, I'm not insulting anyone, sir. Now, National Biosafety Technical Committee, as well as the National Biosafety Committee, and it is a rigorous process that as scientists, we base every recommendation on its merit. And I can say boldly here that in all the reviews, without any sentiment, we have acted professionally as scientists. And I think the last thing I would really want to say is that this house owes us scientists the duty to see that there is improved funding so that we can step up our research in this area, because this is the future of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is from our harvest this year.
Can you bring it here?
Yes, sir. With me and around me, buy the seeds, and in fact, some farmers refuse to buy the seeds. They replant the old one, and it's all growing. Honorable Chairman, as I sat here, I was almost weeping. Because the reality that is upon us in Nigeria is that there is no food. We are harvesting maize. We harvested maize, and maize is at 63,000 naira per bag at harvest. Soya beans is 98,000 naira per bag. We are in a very difficult... Beans is 115,000 per bag. The reality that is upon Nigeria is that there is hunger in the land. We do not have time for misconceptions. Sir, I have advocated for GMO for 8 years. I have gone everywhere and learnt it. I have seen the research to be convinced whether it is good or bad. The truth of this matter is a lot is not being said. PBR cowpea was given to Nigeria royalty free. Farmers are not paying anything. Seed Council is here. It is Nigerian seed companies that are growing all these seeds. There is no foreign company that is, apart from Mahiko, that is doing BT cotton. PBR cowpea and Teller is being developed and grown by Nigerian seed companies. They are the ones who are selling it. It was produced by Nigerian scientists and given to us. I want to say that there is so much confusion and misconception. But I ask.
Thank you, my sister. I believe you have said all you want to say. And you know,
This high quality seeds produce enough food for Nigeria. The minister said it. And the next day, take 400 people. You have no plan. Science is there. Our universities are doing something good. And I think we should support them. This debate can continue. But the bottom line is, think about the Nigerian farmers. Think about our position is very clear. What is happening now is beneficial to us, in the seed industry, and it's something good in Nigeria. Thank you.
All are represented you are the DG. Registrar.
I'm Mrs. Veronica Nkechi Eze, the Registrar CEO of the Nigerian Council of Science and Technology. The council is a new one established to regulate the practice and profession of the food science and technology professionals in Nigeria, meaning that we regulate the human beings that have work on food scientific matters in Nigeria, including the genetically modified organisms. Our position is slightly a little bit different because we lend our support to the presentations made by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, that of the Biosafety Management Agency, and the Biotechnology Research and Development Agency, including the very last one, Nigerian Institute of Food Science and Technology, and all the others that have looked at this GMO from the objective point of view. Our position is that the safety issue of the approved GMOs, especially the ones in Nigeria, need to be followed by every stakeholder who must take advantage of the food experts, especially in the area of testing and assessment of the GMO in the primary food production, processing, and the use of non-genetically modified organic materials, so that to avoid harm to Nigerians. So the food professionals must be involved in the testing and assessment of genetically modified organisms in Nigeria, and that the safety test must take adequate cognizance of short, medium, and long-term plausible effects. So food professionals should be involved in all the regulatory. Sorry,
I think this one you have not made that submission to us already.
We have.
You have that submission to the committee. Yeah. Okay. Now, do you have anything outside that you want to tell us?
Yeah, I just want to conclude.
Okay, I'll give you 1 minute to conclude.
Okay, so we want the food professionals involved to be involved in all regulatory and research agencies, just like I mentioned earlier, so that they can evaluate both food and even the non-food genetically modified organisms for safety and be sure that there's no indirect connection to food. Thank you.
Professor, now, is he around here?
Yes, I'm here.
Where?
I'll use more than 2 minutes, please.
2 minutes. Okay, give me 3 minutes.
Thank you.
And go straight to your point.
Just to start, I don't know, this is coming on and off. Okay, just to start by saying that genetic modification is a natural phenomenon. I think the minister alluded to that in his statement. And it is a natural process. There is natural selection which is a normal thing in life. So genetic modification is not something that is new. I think that's one basic point that I need to make. And all that we are doing in modern biotechnology is trying to do what happens in nature. And I think that should allay any fears. Then secondly, I am a professor of plant breeding and genetics, and I have been the president of the Genetic Society of Nigeria for 6 years. And we must listen to experts. This house must be guided by experts, because misinformation from non-experts can be harmful to us as a nation. I stand here to say boldly that I was hearing someone introducing himself as a professor of genetics that I have never met in any conference, anywhere. As a professor of genetics, who has been... Now, in addition to that, sir, lastly,
ladies and gentlemen, we are here on a serious business. You understand? So what we are expecting from you is something that has related to what was before us.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And please, if you want to continue talking, just you should know that you are just talking to us something related to what was before us here. Not to insult or insult.
Sorry, I'm not insulting anyone, sir. Now, Biosafety Technical Committee, as well as the National Biosafety Committee, and it is a rigorous process that as scientists, we base every recommendation on its merit. And I can say boldly here that in all the reviews, without any sentiment, we have acted professionally as scientists. And I think the last thing I would really want to say is that this house owes us scientists the duty to see that there is improved funding so that we can step up our research in this area, because this is the future of Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll just give you 1 minute because I don't want to be seen as if I'm not a general citizen. I'm giving you 2 minutes.
I have teller maize with me here. This is from our harvest this year.
Can you bring it down?
Yes, sir. I have eaten PBR cowpea for 2+ years, and I've eaten teller. And I have planted it, and it has grown again. And all the farmers with me and around me buy the seeds. And in fact, some farmers refuse to buy the seeds. They replant the old one, and it's all growing. Honorable Chairman, as I sat here, I was almost weeping. Because the reality that is upon us in Nigeria is that there is no food. We are harvesting maize. We harvested maize, and maize is at 63,000 naira per bag at harvest. Soya beans is 98,000 naira per bag. We are in a very difficult... Beans is 115,000 per bag. The reality that is upon Nigeria is that there is hunger in the land. We do not have time for misconceptions. Sir, I have advocated for GMO for 8 years. I have gone everywhere and learned it. I have seen the research to be convinced whether it is good or bad. The truth of this matter is a lot is not being said. PBR cowpea was given to Nigeria royalty-free. Farmers are not paying anything. Seed Council is here. It is Nigerian seed companies that are growing all these seeds. There is no foreign company that is, apart from Mahiko, that is doing BT cotton. PBR cowpea and teller is being developed and grown by Nigerian seed companies. They are the ones who are selling it. It was produced by Nigerian scientists and given to us. I want to say that there is so much confusion and misconception. But I ask.
Thank you, my sister. I believe you have seen you as a woman, and I want to be seen as a gender friendly.
Thank you, and I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. I will make my submission. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, I know. Yes. And you know, please take your seat. Take your seat to the government. I would like to make a point. The committee will sit down to understand all the support of the committee. Mr. Chairman, and if you arrive, since your name and address was a commission, will invite you, my brother. Have a little station. They have what they say. Before. So we are still on one motion. And now, if you have anything that you want to submit to us regarding to what we are just discussing about, please appeal. If you have anything that you want to submit to the committee regarding this particular issue we are just discussing, you are free to do that. Okay, then in the absence of you want to submit something. Okay, bring your submission. No, you are submitted. Okay, and you have address and your submission and your telephone number. If need be, we will contact you. They will contact you. Show you things. How about you want to have something? Okay, we will contact you because we have many submissions and we can't take all of this. Thank you. Honorable colleagues, our guests, we had enough presentation from the government agencies, NGOs, and individuals who have something from the food regarding the issue before. Now it's time for question and answers. So the question, nobody is allowed to ask question from who is not everybody. Only members was allowed to ask question. Only members. Only members. The decision is yours. Now, the law is open to
My question is straight because of time. I want to specifically want to know the measures. This Prime Minister. The measures that will take the part of the measure that we put in place to ensure that the risk assessment for GMOs in Nigeria are conducted with transparency, scientific rigor, and independence, addressing concerns raised by the Nigerian regulatory process.
That's the question.
Yeah, that's the question.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, before I ask my question, let me just make this brief intervention. Yes, a lot has been said here, and of course, our agencies of government, to a large extent, have come to the task. Mr. Chairman, it is true. The Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security is here. Honourable Minister, to a large extent, we know that he has performed very well in revolutionizing agriculture in the country. Now, the issues raised about the food security, the future of the country, you will have been distributing fertilizers, tractors, and all of that to farmers across the country. We believe that is one of the right ways to go. On this issue of GMO, sir, there is a huge disconnect between the stakeholders and the people. More than 4 times, we have had to address protesters in front of this parliament. Nigerians who came here to say no to GMO. It was part of that necessitated the motion on the floor of the chamber of this parliament before this public hearing. I want to put forward 2 questions before our experts that are here, the government agencies and regulatory bodies that are here. You people have taken us to other countries because the best that I know, I just returned back from South Africa yesterday. And I know that in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, in Zambia, and the countries around that region, the people are against GMOs. The farmers are crying that their original crop, that they didn't have to pay, that they didn't have to use fertilizer, to develop have been taken away from them, and the yield is no longer what it used to be. We have not addressed that concern as a nation, and now we want to adopt that system that many persons who have tried it have said has failed them. So my number one question to any of the government agencies here is to stand up and point and name 5 scientific equipment that are used to determine the safety of these GMOs, the ones that we use in this country, so that this parliament will know and Nigerians will know that this equipment that we have in Nigeria are used to test the safety of these GMOs, and they are truly better than the ones used in those countries. Secondly, I'm aware that some of the providers of this GMO, one by the name Monsanto, has even sued farmers in some other parts of the world. Farmers who use GMOs, and they said that there was unintentional contamination. In the event, for any reason, for any intent and purpose, if this parliament, because to a large extent, the consensus that has been built around here is that Nigerians are saying no to GMOs. I do not see parliament saying otherwise, because this is the people's that will not say otherwise. But in the event that we are even thinking, what is the guarantee that the providers of this GMO, government will not allow them to come and sue our farmers? And lastly, Mr. Chairman, sir, 2 weeks ago I was in the United Kingdom. Everything that our leaders here from the various agencies have advertised, there's something you have failed to do. Somebody has told us here that it is better to eat and die. For me, if going to eat and die is going to be the purpose why I will die, we better remain hungry than to eat that thing and die. And in this case, even though that there is hunger in the country, the situation is not that too bad that people no longer have what to eat, that to the extent that they will not have to eat something and die the next day. Lastly, in developed countries, when you go to food stores, the GMO products are tagged for those who want to eat and die, to buy, eat and die. Here in Nigeria, Mr. Chairman, sir, our regulatory agencies have not put any measure in place for Nigerians to make that choice to eat and die. So our regulatory agencies in this regard, Mr. Chairman, sir, without any fear of explosion, I want to say they have failed us. They have failed this parliament, and they have failed our people. That's why Nigerians are here, they are angry. So, Mr. Chairman, sir, we should not allow these agencies to continue to promote this syndrome of eat and die. Our people will not eat and die, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
What we have done now is not around the environment. Please, let's be very careful. Earlier on, they have said that they are residual business.
Start by listing out a list of some countries. I'd like the honorable colleagues and the audience to think about the differences in these societies, and for these societies to all ban GMOs. Before I get into those, so France, Germany, Italy, Mexico, Russia, China, India, Turkey, Austria, Greece, Algeria, Madagascar, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia. Now, someone mentioned something about having experts earlier. I want to believe in some of these countries are some of the most advanced countries on earth, and they will have some of the most expert scientists on earth. Now, some of these countries have fully banned GMOs. Now, we're talking about something that will affect the future of Nigerians. And we have a duty of care. We are not against science, we are not against technology. We adopt science and technology. At this stage, what we're saying is that we should adopt these things with caution for the future and the sustainability of our society. Mr. Chairman, we've heard a lot about GMOs today, people speaking for and against. My question is, from having heard everything we've heard today, are the risks outweighing the benefits of GMOs for Nigerians? Yes, we are hungry.
But do we rush to what will kill us over a sustained period of time? Or do we slowly and accurately, using the same science we're speaking about, engineer solutions by Nigerians, for Nigeria, to be consumed by Nigerians? I think this is the. And then the last question I have is that given the extensive record of fines and violations against Monsanto for environmental damage and ethical misconduct, how can the Nigerian public be assured that similar issues won't occur with GMO production in Nigeria? Thank you.
I want to confer with my last two colleagues on this issue of GMO. We, as representatives of the people of Nigeria and the people's house, we have to be very, very careful in taking or rushing into accepting what has not been done. Why did I say so? I listened very clearly and carefully to the people from the side of the government. 99% of them on the same land. Talking and being accepting on the same. The answer is, why is it that when they give their presentation, they do not come to us as a house with a scientific proof and a research in order to convince or debunk some of us that are against or have a questionable, insight about them. All they are saying is their regulatory, methods, what they have done, what they want to do, but they are not tentative, accurate, purposeful, research, presented before this other house to this particular. We have searched for this from this time to this time. This is the result. This is our fears. This is what we have done as that we don't have that has not been done. I agree with somebody that spoke from one of the agencies. While he was in the middle, I agree with him. Since now this question is in the public domain and everybody is cheating, we from the side of the government and people we are working for, it is good, Mr. Chairman, to ask the government to make a deliberate attempt to focus attention to this issue of GMO. First, my recommendation is to increase budget for those. Okay, sir. Lastly, thank you. I agree, because I'm overwhelmed. Maybe in the time, because of time, we'll talk to the chairman on how we can improve to our agency budget for us to increase or to improve on our research and development. So that we can come up with more accepted. Thank you, Honorable. Thank you.
I have a question to the agencies. I want to know if they consider the potential long-term environmental consequences of the GMO as regards to our soil health. And the second one is, how do we ensure that we don't lose our seeds? Thank you.
Thank you. I know you said you should take questions down and provide answers. Experience has shown that they collect our questions or we only provide answers they are convenient. Mr. Chairman, if you give me 5 minutes, I want to engage them. So to answer my question, if I have a follow-up question, I will ask. Mr. Chairman, by professor, and he was never called, the professors that carry under voting. And this submission made a lot of sense, Mr. Chair. Since he wasn't called, I would like to adopt his submission and ask his questions, if I'm permitted. Number one, he said, do we have capacity and laboratory facilities in Nigeria that can guide us to simply follow the GMO science for the benefit of our people, instead of depending on foreign laboratories and technology? Do we? Does anybody want to answer me from the agency? Do we really have that? Then the second question here, if the money for the GMO research and technology, it is not coming to us in Africa, but to scientists and groups in the north. How can we ever know when GMO technology and research is turned against us in Nigeria and Africa? How can we, through research and development, ensure that we do not lose our biodiversity and our seed and food systems? Mr. Chairman, why I really adopted this? Because I see that there is a big disconnect between our agencies and our experts, the professors that came out, and it's like 99% of the experts are on one side, and 99% of the agencies are speaking for. And it's so heartbreaking. Mr. Chairman, maybe okay, we haven't taken the right answer. Question if that from just who's that question? Maybe about that.
The Honorable Minister for the comments he made on the position on this matter of GMO. Even though the agencies that have spoken are practically spoken in favor of GMO, what I see here is that there is a huge disconnect between the agencies of government and the people, the Nigerian populace, that this GMO that we're talking about will grossly affect. I understand our responsibility here. This is an investigative hearing. I wouldn't want to go into much issues because at the end of the day, we are going to come out with the reports. We are here for all sides. If there are more information, I will urge you to furnish this committee with all the information you have. Because these are arguments for and against. At the end of the day, we will take the decision that will best affect the Nigerian people. Because today I'm here, tomorrow I might not be, in the parliament. And if we take any wrong decision, we will be, the people that will also be affected by the decision that's taken by this parliament. So I urge everyone to put forward all arguments and we will look at it, also considering the word best practice and see what is good for our people. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We put that on the GMOs. But I want to first of all appreciate the author and initiator that's thinking in-depthly to make sure we have enough food to eat in this country. Because there is no doubt that we are suffering and there is hunger and life. But my concern will be on the safety and the long-term health impact of consuming GMO, particularly in the light of studies suggesting potential adverse effects. How do we now guide against this so that we can be rest assured that consuming GMO will be very, very safe for Nigeria? Thank you.
My other colleagues, my question is, if the DNA organism that is either a plant or an animal is changed, it will affect the original features of the plant or the animal. By doing so, there are a lot of problems or livelihoods of inferior factors that may be known. So this is what all of these speakers are saying, and the members here have spoken a lot of this. And my colleague from the high table here has spoken a lot of that. I want to know now what will be the effects of these harmful things for changing the organisms of the plants or animals.
Thank you. Matter for biosafety agency. Yes. Can I ask you, do you have a website? You. What's the website? How often do you update your website? Regularly. You keep updating? Yes. Sorry, Honorable Minister, I would just plead that if you can have an assessment of GMO risk reports, maybe next sitting for the committee, so that let us also guide the other environment. The other environment. That's still that view. So that direction. You said this as a city chairman. You are decided when my daughter is here, I will take it. Thank you very much. Question was asked now. One more question from okay, another collaboration with NAFTA and how NAFTA and MDA and how we're working together. I'm just taking information from an article in the tabloid on the 19th of September 2024. And NAFTA expressed some concern, some caution over GMOs. It says NAFTA's cautionary stance is also shaped by its role as the guardian of public health. The agency is concerned. The question was referred to the respective agencies and who have the knowledge to answer the question. While answering the question, I want to urge the ladies and gentlemen who are here. The questions and the process nobody was asked to slap or shout or anything. The question was asked by us and we are expecting the answers. Because through the answers, maybe it will help us while making our own report. It will be something that at least at the end of the day will help the biggest interest of our county. So I don't want to hear anybody, maybe counting anybody who is in the process of answering any question. I will allow maybe those ministers to just give over 1 person to ask. Other questions maybe that was asked, the answers can be written and write and sent to the committee. Maybe we are not going to say if you have something that you don't want to say, don't say it quickly. So that we can put in the second section. All answers regarding to the question that was raised should be furnished by the relevant agencies, biosafety, District Council, and any other agencies, the institute, agriculture, and science. You had the question that was asked. So we want to answer in written to the Secretary of the Committee. And any other NGOs, if you understand who had an answer regarding to the question that was asked, you can still furnish the committee. So, Minister, the floor is yours now. Then you can.
I think it is something that we need to critically look into and see what are those areas that are of concern. And when somebody comes out and says this is good, and somebody says it's bad, then the onus is on you to prove that it is bad, or the onus is on the person to say this is good because we have certain parameters that we have measured and feel that it is good. But by and large, GMOs have been around for quite a number of years, and by now we should be able to learn from other clients what they have seen with GMOs. I agree with what Honorable Shagai has just mentioned, where other countries have banned. Then let us look at what are the reasons that they were banned, and let us look at what are ours in the same category that those ones were that they were banned. And like I keep saying, there's a thin line between genetic modification and hybrid or modification of a seed. we want to improve seeds. What are improvement of seeds? It's also some kind of science-based technology that has been used. But what are the genetic professors are here? I think we need to sit down and look at these things critically, not to rush into bringing out something that will eventually come out and harm us. But let's also not be mindful that the narratives that are being sponsored, I have, not today, for the past 10, 20 years, I keep receiving emails about Monsanto, GMOs, and all that it looks like it's sponsored. What we are saying is, let's sit down critically. We have our scientists, we have our experts. Let us look at what are the issues involved. I was a bit concerned when the DG of NAFDAC mentioned on national TV, on the live program, on what again Honorable Shagai has just mentioned. I saw it live, and I immediately actually called the ears of here and I was asked him, is NAFDAC not involved in that? And he told me that NAFDAC is on the board. And I was surprised to see the DG of NAFDAC, who was a representative on the board, speaking differently. But I also share the concerns. It's out there. You go to places, you see non-GMO products. I have seen, even on the document that we have issued out some time ago on the importation of food, the criteria is importation of non-GMO, which clearly shows that there's a reason why it is there. So we have to be cautious. I know we cannot also demoralize our scientists, our agencies, in not going into scientifically based research into new products that we can, leverage on because of the challenges that we face in terms of food security. Let us not discourage them. I see a lot of aggressiveness and some kind of temper with people that represented the opposition, but I just want us to, let's do it in a manner that is constructive. Let us encourage them, do the right thing, not to come out and blame them. It's just like somebody who is preaching for you not to do something. He said, no, you're going to hell. You can't be the person to judge that you're going to hell. Do it in such a way that is, in a manner that we can collaborate and come out with meaningful successes, because we are faced with challenges. So, Mr. Chairman, the first question I think was from Honorable Barrett, but he's not here. Oh, he's there. Okay. I think you asked something about what are the measures that were in place to look at the risk assessment and to conduct transparency in all these issues. Biosafety is here. They have mentioned those areas, and I've also mentioned in my presentation that we have several agencies in different ministries that are there to cross-check and and see themselves. But by and large, these are scientists, Nigerian scientists, and like I said, government will not bring out something that will harm its people and citizens. So with this, Mr. Chairman, I would just want to yield the floor to some of the agencies that if they have issues that were raised during the questions, they can answer. So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.
You have said something in such a way that at least you have communicated with people that everybody understands the position. And like I have earlier said, if we will say we will stay and answer all the questions, then we are going to spend another day here. But all the relevant agencies that the question was asked to them, we said manage cost. So then we said we rely on the question and really the government. Then
down to our scientists, yes. I don't think, for me, I'm an agriculturalist. And I have to live to know that what we are discussing. And I do know that when we domesticate most of our findings outside, it will more important what we see from outside. Now, the scientists from American University and other research and now to work.
Please, we are all Nigerians. And we're in this hall to make Nigeria a better nation. We're in this hall because we are faced with the problems. Probably we are faced with two things. And together we will see ahead. Now we bring up an issue. If you are criticizing an issue, if we criticize, you are trying to give solutions. You give solutions so that Nigeria will move forward. We are not only here to criticize. No, we are here to get.
Thank you. You have made a very good discovery. Actually, we have come to the end of the first session. As a committee, what I want to assure you to move in a presentation goes on and who supported and those who oppose the matter, who said, okay, the technical committee. You understand, we will have to the Minister of Family so that you can make up with your professional. We will take up a technical committee. A technical committee that we can sit down with them to work together and harmonize all the submissions that were done. So that at the end of the day, we will come out with something that is going to be for the best interest of our country. We are not here to support vote or vote. What was the cause? It's for us to do the finding and come up with something that is going to help our nation. And I'm assuring you are working towards that. Not for anybody, rather than we are for something that is going to be good for Nigeria and something that is going to be better for Nigeria. On this note, I hereby call on the first session closed.